game I got to play against one of the guys from the chess club in tournament. So the kitty gloves came off and we both played for real, and it was fun. At the end of it, I felt like I was being hunted, but I managed to pull one through. Let's take a look at the game. We'll start off with the e4, and my buddy at the chess club enjoys playing this. Alakine, I'm uncertain of how to pronounce it, but he's good at it. So my push, we get that strong pawn formation, which it's known for. And I don't know how to play this, in all honesty. I'm not sure. So what I do is I take it a step further. We already have this big, strong pawns out here trying to take the center. And in addition to that, this opening is known for trying to build a strong center, and then your opponent spends the rest of the game trying to tear it down. At least that's what they tell me. I'm not certain. So what I do is I take it a step further. I'm like, why not, right? Why not? Don't know how to play it, don't care. Throw it out there, let's see what happens. So he begins to attempt to break it down. His queen gets more activity. So now I potentially have to worry about that queen coming out, at the very least putting pressure on my d4 square. He brings the knight up. Again, I didn't know we were still in the book. Did not know that. All I know is that it's going to be fun. Right? It's going to be fun. We both play against one another periodically, and every time we do, we go back and forth about wins and losses. And it tends to matter more about who has the white pieces than it matters what opening we're playing, because we mix it up. So here we go. He plays that knight c6. I play the knight to f3. He pins, I play bishop up. Now, notice here that I intentionally leave pawns weak. It's going to be a theme of the game, where I'm intentionally trying to leave a few pawns weak in order to pull him out of position so that I can basically gambit off pawns so that I can develop. He captures, I capture. So notice here, right? C-pawn's undefended. Knight can easily jump in and take that C-pawn. Or, you know what, visually, let's make it a little bit easier for you. Here's that C-pawn, and then here's that knight, right? Knight can easily jump in and take that pawn. Also notice that the knight and the queen are working for this pawn. There's a reason for it. He doesn't capture. I do. I capture. So what I'm attempting to do here is, I know that his knight is going to end up, if he takes this pawn, the knight's going to end up, he's going to have double pawns, double isolated pawns on a open file where I can bring my rook to play and bear down on his position from that C file. And that's what I'm looking to do here. I'm looking to bait him or goad him into taking that pawn so that I can then have an avenue for that rook to play. Rooks need roads. Rooks need roads. And with that being the case, I want to use my rooks on these open files or these semi-open files to attack and apply pressure on my opponent. High castle doing just that. Now we do the king safety aspect of the opening, and I get to bring that rook and get that rook into the fight. So he takes the pawn. I push the pawn, right? Wasn't 100% sure what to do in this position, but I did want to push the pawn so that I could push his knight back. I don't like the ideal of my opponent's knights or my opponent's pieces sitting in my territory, especially not the knight. The knight does wonderfully at hand-to-hand combat. He goes behind the enemy lines and fights really, really well. And I don't need him on my side of the board where he can act as a hook to bring all the rest of his pieces in. So I push him back. He comes back. I bring the bishop up. He brings knight over. Now he gets this nice centralized knight right here in the center of the board, which I helped with. It's my assist. But that knight is now going to become a problem for me, where he can reach into my territory. Now, yes, I'm still going to be able to do exactly what I want it to do and bring this rook to bear on those weak pawns. And remember, if we look, he does not have a light squared bishop. he only has that dark squared bishop, which means there's only so much protection that he can give to his c-pawn. So that will become a focal point of my attack, is to use my pieces to isolate, to cut from the pack, and to attack. I bring my queen up. Now I know that my opponent is a strong player, so I'm not looking to get this checkmate here. I know it's not going to happen. My goal is to develop the pieces that I do have, get them out as quickly as possible with a purpose, simultaneously push my opponent's plan and agenda back. Make it so he can't just freely develop his pieces. He has to respond to what it is that I'm doing. And simultaneously, I wanted to defend that bishop. So he brings the queen up, defending the checkmate. I bring the knight over. I bring the knight up again. So what I'm attempting to do is, the way I look at this is that my opponent is very quickly running, my opponent's king is very quickly running out of friends, right? Let's say he castles. And in doing so, what I notice is that I have 1, 2, 3 pieces that can very quickly jump into his position, whereas all of his pieces look like they're starting to cut themselves away over onto the queen side of the board, as if they don't want anything to do with the king side of the board, but yet it appears that he's going to castle king side, and if he doesn't castle king side, if I'm wrong, then his king is going to be sitting here, where when my rooks come barreling in like a battering ram, straight down that c-file. So he captures the bishop. I captured back. Now, what I see here is that he gave up his good, strong, centralized knight. Same knight that I had to worry about, it's gone now. The knight that supported the pieces on both sides of the board and potentially could get back to help the king if needed is gone. I capture. He plays rook over to attack the pawn. Now, I went back and forth about this move for a while, wondering what it was that I should do. And what I ultimately decided was, I did not see an immediate attack on the king side. What I saw was trying to figure out what rook to move, right? One of chess. So I take back, eliminating that knight. From here, he moves the rook over, attacking the pawn. Now, what I didn't notice was, what I was thinking was, as I'm looking at this, I don't see that I'm going to be able to continue the king side attack the way that I wanted to. And now I figure it's probably not the best idea to headhunt the king. So instead I'm thinking, what can I do? And that's where I get to thinking, I can utilize my rooks over here to fight on the queen side of the board, to defend that d pawn and to attack that c pawn or those c pawns. And then potentially I can bring my rook up to like that c4 square here and utilize it to attack or to help defend the pawn and continue to attack those c pawns. So that's what I do. I bring the rook over. He brings queen up to a nice centralized position. I bring my other rook up to attack that pawn and then continue with the same ideal where I'm going to launch that rook up to c4 and play from there. He castles. I play rook up. Now he knows, I know that he knows, he can't save that pawn. So this is very concerning right here. Because as we look quickly, what we notice is that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 attackers for that pawn. He doesn't have that many defenders. So when I see him push that pawn, alarm bells start going off. Because something's wrong here. Something's very wrong. I capture. He captures. Capture. And there it is, right? The queen sacrifice. Now, I've seen it during the game that was a potential that might happen. And I know he's the kind of player that would happily do something like that. So it was no surprise that he went to sacrifice that queen. It's just not the kind of game I wanted to play. So here we are. I capture back, he takes, king pops up, and I'm thinking, right? The whole time I'm thinking, he's going to try to double the rooks. Once the rooks get doubled, this is going to be a hard-fought game. My game has to consist of trying to pull the queen over, take out these pawns, and then afterwards, very, very simply, use these connected pawns and run them. Run those pawns. That's my thought. That's the plan. King should be safe over here by himself. Maybe I can pull a pawn up and then duck that king back behind, and then use the queen to try to support this pawn here, that G2 pawn. That's where he can't get in. That's my thought. That's my thought. So surprisingly, he doesn't double the rooks. He does not double the rooks. He does not allow his two pieces to work together to actively hunt my king and queen. Instead, what he does is he blockades that pawn from moving. So now that that pawn can't move forward, the queen doesn't have such easy access. And it does turn into a problem later. I pull queen over. And the reason I do is I see that the queen should be able to take that pawn, and if not, I can force one of his rooks into passivity. And I like that. Making it so they do not connect. They do not work together. I try to isolate them so I can take them out. What he does is he brings rook back, blocking me from capturing that pawn that I wanted. So now I can't go through that rook to get it. So what I see is now he's attacking both of my pawns, and I have a problem. I can't afford to lose any pawns at this point in my mind. And keep in mind, this E pawn right here, this E pawn is a problem pawn. It's isolated. He ain't got no friends, which means that I have to babysit that pawn. My queen is on guard duty for this thing, and that's not okay. The queen has to be able to go out and do queen things, not do pawn things and guard pawns. So I play queen over. Now when I play queen over, what I'm trying to do is, one, I'm trying to infiltrate, point blank period. Let's let the record be straight. I want to get into his camp, and I want to wreck shop. Two, I'm defending a pawn. Those E pawn and C pawns. Now he offers me a way out. He gives me a lifeline. As I stated before, I do not want to babysit this E pawn, and he gives me an option. He allows me to exchange that pawn that I did not want to guard. I do so, his rook enters the game, but I do not care. What I care about is not guarding that pawn. I use my pawns to defend one another here. He plays his rook down. I play queen over. The reason being is, one, I'm trying to attack the pawn. Two, I'm trying to attack the rook. He very simply solves the problem by pushing. I intentionally offered him to take that pawn because in my mind I get to wreck shop now. Yes, I gave up one pawn. Yes, I created two isolated pawns here. Oh, sorry. Yes, I created two isolated pawns here. But what's going to happen now is, after the king comes over, I get to go to work. I get to go to work. And now he has to watch me as much as I have to watch him. Because now I have that pass pawn that's advanced. He has to worry about it. Not to mention dropping his other pawn while his king's exposed out here. So he pushes the pawn, solving his problem. I push my pawn, protecting this one. And he brings his rook over. Again, I'm thinking, why is he not connecting his rooks? Why is he not unifying them and allowing them to work together harmoniously? He doesn't think about it, I guess. I bring queen over, and what it looks like is I have a pin, or I have a skewer, that's not my goal. My goal is infiltration. My goal is to get back here behind the enemy line and then to be able to wreck shop. That's it. I want to be able to pick off these pawns, and I want to be able to keep my pawns strong while I'm trying to do that. He plays the check. I pop the king out. He finally doubles the rook. Notice here that his goal is to play this check where it's going to force my queen off the board, forking the king and queen. I don't want it. I'm out of here. I play the queen off to the side of the board. I tell the king, hey, he can take care of himself. Good luck, Godspeed. I go over to my opponent's queen side of the board, so now I can start trying to eliminate the pawns. He plays the capture. I capture. Again, the rooks aren't in a position where they can help one another. Now, if I'm not careful, I'm going to get stair-step mated, or a ladder step mated. I'm uncertain of the exact terminology. In any case, I don't want to get mated regardless of what name you give to it. I play king back. What he actually does is he plays that rook to c2. Now, I'm thinking here, hey, he's just going for a perpetual check. He doesn't want to play the game anymore. I don't blame him. He just looks to draw this game. I didn't see a way out of it, and I was like, a draw is better than a loss for me. So I'm happy to take a draw. But after we play that down, that king e2, and then the rook c2 for the check, I play back up for the king e3. Just going back and forth here, right? I'm uncomfortable with traveling too far away. Again, he doesn't want to double. He instead plays rook to d8, and it was in this moment that I knew that the tides of war had changed and that I could begin to win. Immediately I play in. So I'm playing for this loose rook, this loose pawn, and he refuses to allow his pieces to work together. So instead of that, instead of doubling the rooks, finding some way to put them together, or playing for the draw, two options at this point, what he decides to do is play the c3 check. I play the king back, and I'm thinking he's going for the draw. He plays the rook f8, and I'm like, it's too late, it's over. He's playing defensive, and it's not going to work now. The game is not going to be in his favor because of that. So I play the a4. He plays the rook c2, not going for a king e3. And now he takes, and the moment he takes, I know I've won. I know I've won. Immediately, I think I snap back, and I think I play that check first. King pulls to the corner, and then I pick off the pawn. Let's take a look at the end position. At this point, my opponent's under 5 minutes, so I no longer have to take notation. So I stop, and we'll jump to the end position. So here it is. This is the final position, and it's white to move. What happens is I play a capture. He captures back. I play a simple push pawn, and that's it. That's the ball game. It was a fun one.